your source for all things Texas Tech. This is the Ask Level podcast from the Double T Sports Network.
The Red Raiders hoop dynamic has changed a lot in 1 week. In today's episode, we look at life without an All-American, what to expect from here, Red Raiders at the NFL Combine, and we answer a stack of questions from you, the audience. Ask Level podcast, as usual, brought to you by our friends at Cantex Roofing and Construction.
This is Mike Hebert, the proud owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. We've been serving West Texas for all of your residential and commercial construction needs for the past 9 years. We would love the opportunity to earn your business. Together, we are one serving you.
Alongside Chris Level, I'm Chois Woodman. Level, a lot has changed since the last time you and I talked. We were flying pretty high after a win over number one Arizona. You were still in Arizona when we spoke the morning of the game in Tempe, and you lose the game. You lose JT Toppin, so things looking a little bit different nowadays.
Yeah. Is this one of the most devastating injuries that we've had around here? Regardless of sport. I mean, I just
for sure, yes. I'm trying to think of one that tops it.
Yeah, you've had quarterbacks that get hurt that can kind of sink your ship. But nobody was like National Player of the Year caliber in any capacity that is the one that gets hurt. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just had been thinking about it. I'm just like, I'm not, you've had some starting pitchers
right
that in baseball that
sure.
are like, oh, this is crushing. But like, this was just different than everything, really. Just because I think that, I'm not, there was no guarantees on anything, but I mean, I think people, you would have had an outside shot to win the whole thing or make it to the Final Four or be a trendy this or that. And you've had, an unbelievable collection of wins to prove that you could, win at a very high level. And it's funny because over the weekend, your Arizona win almost it looks a little bit better because they go win at University of Houston.
Right.
And then your win over Duke is even better because they go beat Michigan, who everybody thought was pretty much a clear-cut number one overall team. So, we've been processing, all of us, fans, players, coaches, casual observers, whatever, of what this injury means, and it just it sucks. But now it's time to reinvent and to try to maximize the time left you have with this team, and you're still going to get a pretty good seed in the tournament. I think it looked pretty good on Saturday versus Kansas State. You were able to space the floor quite a bit and get some of your other bigs. I mean, there were more dunks in that game on Saturday than I can remember in any basketball game all season, because you're playing a bit different. But yeah, I just there's just no winners in that. When a great player, and he was great, goes down like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, I think, conservatively, one of the top 5 players in the country, and it's.
He's a National Player of the Year candidate.
Yeah, I mean, it's losing a guy like that is a massive blow. Now, it's interesting to see what happens on the other side of that, and we'll get into some of that on Texas Tech's approach, because it's got to be different. We know that, but that's the thing is I think you still have a really good team. I think you still have a really good coach. You were the only team that had 2 top 20 Wooden players on the whatever semifinalist list or whatever. So you still got one of those on your team, but the whole how you go about things, especially on the offensive end, is going to change dramatically. And we saw a little bit of it on Saturday against K-State.
Yeah. And I think Grant has looked at it in that it's a little bit too late to try to just totally change too much. I think you'll emphasize a few more things like spacing the floor, moving without the ball. It won't be as much isolation with, picking the floor in the middle or pick and roll in the middle of the floor, and then or just throw it to JT and let him get after it. So you'll have to do a few different things here. But, again, you do have good players, and maybe you have better players that had not been playing a ton than we thought. They're going to get a chance to kind of prove some of that. Luke Bomboye, Josiah Mosley, Mariela Kuntak, guys like that are going to get some more run, which they wouldn't have gotten previously. And you're going to ask Lawan Watts to do a bit more and be a bit different. Same with Jalen Petty. But it is fun to watch, regardless of who's out there and who's not. It is fun to watch Christian Anderson and Donovan Atwell, because these are just these guys are just. I mean, like Saturday, you have Donovan go for 21 in the first half. You had Christian go for 16 in the second half. What was that word combination?
Second-teen, that's a new word.
Second-teen. It was like second half, 16. I've blended them together. Goodness gracious.
We got you. We knew what you're saying.
But at least I caught it. And he went for 16 in the second half. And so that's what happens, man, on a Monday when your brain gets to working too fast.
For sure.
Or you're trying to kickstart it from the weekend. I think I'm still in gold medal hockey coma. From watching that deal.
That was greatness.
But yeah, those two guys just weren't going to let you lose on Saturday. And again, I think the tests, they will get tougher. I think that the Cincinnati game is going to be fascinating because it's a 6:00 tip, which worries me. But let me just explain to you how hot Cincinnati is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the score and say from Saturday and go, I mean, I did. I had to ask somebody at the game on Saturday. I was like, is this right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this a glitch in the program that I'm looking at, or I was like having to look at it on ESPN and Yahoo and I was just like trying to make sure that it was correct, because I'm like, nobody goes to Fog Allen and blows out Kansas, but that's what Cincinnati just did. But there are three teams that are in the as far, because everybody looks at KenPom and offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency, and that's how you get a good feel for what teams are. And there's a lot of metrics that get placed into what allows them to get that rating. Okay, coaches are enthralled with it, right?
Yeah.
And there's three teams in the last 2.5 weeks that have been in the top 16 of offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. Duke, Michigan, and Cincinnati.
That's an outlier, because a lot of times you look at that stuff and those directly reflect, Elite Eight, Final Four caliber teams. Cincinnati being there is different, but it also shows.
It's a 2.5 week because they've won 4 in a row.
Yeah.
What Wes Miller had this. I don't know if you remember seeing it a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Well, he kind of was talking to the fans,
apologizing. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, man, I get it. I get your frustration." And he goes, "I'm human. Like, it bothers me. I get it." I'm just like, he was being very upfront on it. They had lost 4 or 5 games at that point. It looked like he was just dead man walking.
Yep.
And maybe now not so much, but since then they've won 4 in a row, and it's no secret. I mean, they are doing it because their defense has always been good. Their defense, I think, ranks 10th in this statistical category all season. They just play more of a grinded out. He's got big men and Mustafa Cham, and then Baba Miller. Baba Miller's an NBA guy.
He's legit.
But these two dudes went into, because Flory Badunga is about as good of a big man as I'd seen in this league, and they tapped him out and tapped out the front line of Kansas at their place in front of 16,000. I mean, again, this just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, the game on Tuesday night and the 6 o'clock tip worries me a little bit because I just don't know what the crowd will look like. But yeah, it's going to take, this is all of a sudden now on paper compared to like a month ago. It looks quite a bit different. These are long seasons, man.
Very much.
Just to give you an idea of like how long these seasons are, Donovan Atwell scored 26, against Kansas State. That was a season high. I think that it broke I think he had 22 versus Lindenwood, which was the first game of the season, November the 4th. We've had Thanksgiving, we've had Christmas, we've had New Year's, we've had Valentine's Day. I mean, it's just these are long seasons. It's a lot of life that we've all lived since that Lindenwood game, but Cincinnati a bit different now than they just were, a month ago or certainly 3 weeks ago.
No question they are. And we'll dive a little bit more into Cincinnati as well as later in the week, Iowa State. We'll look at those games. But let's go ahead and get to a couple of basketball questions, quite a few basketball questions, actually. One more to look back at Arizona State before we move on from that. Says this one's from Connor. It says, Level, why did Tech look flat and Christian Anderson look so casual even when we were down against Arizona State down the stretch?
Well, it's funny because Christian Anderson looks casual all the time, even when it's going great. That's just his. There's no panic, but when it's not going well, I know that people want some. Want it to look a little bit different, but it was a weird vibe. I think you and I talked about this. The atmospheres were going to be completely different. The late tip.
The fact that y'all had hung out in Arizona for a long time.
You're kind of lulled to sleep. It's just a weird deal, man. Kind of off your routine a little bit. I don't know. Because it was a 9 o'clock local tip and 10 o'clock. I got to the arena at 7 o'clock local time and there's nobody there. Right. And it's just weird. And so I don't know, Arizona State had been off for a week. They've got two really good players, and then a third that can really cause some problems. And they just, they wanted it a bit more. And it's just the turnovers that bothered you.
Yes.
But it's like you didn't know how to break a press all of a sudden. Throwing it into the corner and getting double teamed and just kind of, I don't know, just some unforced errors there. But it was just this weird vibe really from the get-go. It was very reminiscent of UCF. Now, the atmosphere there was very different, but it's like Arizona State just kind of, for the most part, were either in or kind of controlled the game from the tip. And you kind of were just hanging around, I don't want to say going through the motions, but, it's just, and then the injury happens. And yet you still had a chance to, extend the game or kind of potentially win it at the end. But, your two best free throw shooters miss free throws, Jalen Petty and Donovan Atwell. Yeah. And it's crazy. And in Atwell's defense, he got checked. I mean, he got like floored, and that's why he was going to the free throw line. And he's kind of limping, and you could see he was like big exhales. And I'm like, man. And I think I said it on the broadcast, like, I wonder if they should use their timeout. They only had one left, and maybe you just wanted to save it, but I wonder if they should use it here just to get him. And he stepped up and kind of he missed it. But he just doesn't miss free throws. That's how good he's been. I mean, he's shooting close to 90% from the stripe. So it's just one of those days, man. Sports. Sometimes it's
very
when
much
you play people or what time you play people. I don't know, but you just didn't have it. And yeah, it's just, and I know they were a bit shell shocked when you watch your teammate get help to the locker room and you're going, oh man, that doesn't look good. So, but that was just with 6 minutes to go. But I don't know if you would have won it had he stayed in the game.
I mean, well, he was part of it was he started to try to take over. I mean, you saw that where JT Toppin's like, well, if no one else is going to do this, I'm going to get downhill and I'm going to attack every time I touched the ball. And unfortunately on one of those attacks is when this injury happens. And just, it's sports. It's what happens in sports, unfortunately. And the non-contact ones are usually the worst, but Hate
And
it
yet
for him.
this one was, it wasn't really non-contact. It's like when he goes to lift, he kind of bangs legs with Masamba Diop, I think the big man for Arizona State. It was a weird angle, and he just kind of was going really fast, and like we couldn't, it just didn't look like they normally look. That's why you maybe hold out some hope.
Yeah.
But no, we got the news that you were fearing. So anyway, it's but now it creates kind of like Will Hammond. These are program changing injuries, not just in the immediate, but in the future. And now you try to figure out, okay, what now? What does this look like?
Right.
This is going to spill into next year for JT, and you just don't know, what all that looks like. And
Right.
there's finances involved, as we know. There's rehab questions and timetable. Just there's a lot going on there that's going to be an interesting puzzle to try to put together on kind of what everything looks like. So anyway.
So this question comes from Rick. It says, what do you think your ceiling was for Tech before the Toppin injury, and what is it now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think you could have gotten to the Final Four. I really do. I mean, that would have depended on matchup. That wouldn't have been easy.
Sure.
But I think realistically, I think it would have been a pretty big disappointment if you don't at least get to the second weekend of the tournament.
Sure.
Now I say any win you get in the NCAA tournament is to be applauded, because I don't know what this is going to look like here. You still have good players, but let's be honest. If you are some team out there on Selection Sunday and you're a 12 seed or a 13 seed and you see Texas Tech on the other side, you probably go, we caught a break. I mean, how could you not? And so, I mean, it's just so in any win you get here when you get to the tournament, I think is to be applauded. So it'll be they can do it. I mean, don't get me wrong. They can do it. They're going to fight. They're going to try to empty their bucket here, but you get out of that first weekend and man, it's a hell of a coaching job, because I just don't know. You're asking a lot, and a lot of tweaking to your chemistry and the style of play, and playing guys that aren't really used to it, extended minutes and all that. Now you've got some time to work with, but yeah, that's how I would answer that question. So anything from second weekend at least to any win is to be applauded or appreciated, or however you want to phrase that.
We might learn a lot more over the next week. I mean, we've seen one game, obviously, and it was a pretty inspired effort without JT Toppin against Kansas State, but it's also against one of the worst teams in this league. But I think as you've already talked about, Cincinnati's playing much better now than they were a couple of weeks ago. And then you've got Iowa State, who's a legit top 10 team on the road at one of the toughest venues in college basketball. So we'll get to see a little bit more what it looks like this week, and maybe be able to judge it after that.
Yeah, and I don't think they've lost at home, this season. They just beat Houston. They obviously just lost in Provo, which is your other road trip. Because, I mean, you could lose your next four. I mean, these two home games you have left are both Tuesday 6:00 games, which are, again, it's just tricky with the crowd, and you just don't know what the environment's going to be like in there, and that can bite you a little bit. And these are two teams that are on the bubble, so there's a sense of urgency there. So we'll just kind of see what we get here. But again, we'll be along for the ride, and you try to squeeze as much as you can out of everything, and away we go. It's easy to get fired up in front of a sold out crowd, right? And you feel the doubt or the concern, and it's easy to get your kids' attention, but like it'll be harder on everybody against Cincinnati. One, because they're better, and then two, it's just I don't know if it'll be full in there, and so it's just a bit of a different dynamic. But Yeah, these will be tough because really all four teams, if you squint hard enough, all four teams in remaining of your regular season schedule could make the NCAA tournament. I mean, Cincinnati and TCU have some work to do, but they could make it. They're kind of in the last four out or the next four out, all that kind of category that you're looking at, and so there you go.
All right, one more question. This one comes from Brandel. It says, outside of C4, DA, and Watts, who is the most important player to step up and provide minutes and stats for the remainder of the year?
Yeah, probably Bamboye. Yeah, I mean, really, it's going to take a village, but I mean, I'd play that game. Christian and Donovan are not going to really come out of the game much. Those are still now key. Watts is going to be asked to do a bit more. But Bamboye, Petty, Mosley, I mean, you're going to get, and I appreciated Luke was able to play on Saturday without fouling and play extended minutes. I thought that the subs were constant, which allows him to be fresher because, again, this is not a player. Mosley's the same way. They just haven't practiced a ton. I mean, they're to their bodies, this is still late November if we were beginning of the season because, I mean, they just have missed so much time and practice time, and it's like their cardio and all the things, much less scheme and all that. So, but yeah, probably to answer the question, probably Bamboye, and then I would put Petty second.
So, looking at Cincinnati, because that's the most immediate game we have, and maybe game day or after the game when you listen to this podcast, but how much different is this than your matchup, obviously, with Kansas State to you because of the inside presence and Miller and what they've got going on there?
Completely different.
Yeah,
completely different. This team has legit rim protection. They have a pair of bigs. So if you start the game the same way that you did, Lawan Watts is going to have to guard one of them.
Yeah.
And that's what Bill Self said after their game against Kansas. He's like, Flory doing okay against one of them, but we still had to guard the other, and we couldn't do it. So, they struggle to score at times. The Cincinnati now against Kansas, they knocked down 12 threes, which is abnormal. That's normal for you, not for them. And so they kind of had it working inside and out and everything. You just may struggle to score at times. But no, this will be a much different challenge. They're not as good at the guard spots. I mean, Jizzle James is pretty good. As I'm looking at it, he's averaging, Jizzle James averaging like 10 a game in conference play. But they only score, 68, 69 points in conference play. I think you're scoring closer to over 80. But again, their defense, I think, is pretty good. They're going to look the part. This is going to be a much bigger team across the board, not just in the post, but at the guard spots, their wings. So, and they'll be more than happy to kind of play a grinded out, ugly style of game. So it'll be kind of interested to see kind of what Grant and Jeff Linder and those guys kind of come up with on everything. And then again, I go back to what's the atmosphere feel like? You're going to have to. You're going to have to grind through it a little bit. But again, I don't foresee you winning by 28 here.
Right.
But you just want to have more than the other guy and then let somebody else deal with a hot Cincinnati team.
If someone gives you 2-2 down the stretch, you taking it?
Probably, yeah, I would. I hate to, I'm just.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, I'd probably take that and run. And I think that guarantees you no worse than fifth in the league, which means you wouldn't get a double bye if you did finish fifth in the conference. I think that puts you at 12-6 in the league, which is a hell of a record, by the way.
That's probably a 5 seed at worst in the NCAA tournament.
Probably. It also puts you into playing like that 11:30 a.m. game on Wednesday. So you would, I think you maybe open up the tournament. You would play the first game of the Big 12. No, because there's games all day Tuesday. Excuse me. Right. You would play on Wednesday in that early game, and you would be playing the winner of like I think the 12 and the 13 seeded teams. And then if you win that, you would play the winner of the probably the fourth place team, which would potentially be like Kansas or somebody. And who knows? Maybe Darren Peterson's not even playing in that game if that's the way it goes. So, yeah, we'll just kind of see how this thing plays out here.
And something we didn't mention, but the NCAA released their top 16 seeds over the weekend. Texas Tech was the highest ranked 4 seed, which was 13th nationally, and projected in the South region. Now that's just a projection, but that would be in Houston if you got to a second weekend.
So it is I think I'm right here, Woodman, in that I don't think they used to do these, like do the top 16 each week. I think this is all you're going to get.
I think this is it. Yeah, the one.
Yeah, this was it. It's
I think they did this last year one time as well.
Yeah, it's a glimpse. I do know enough to know about it that they did know that JT Toppin was lost for the year at the time because you can go look at every media poll and every top 25 and all that. And the media has already written off Texas Tech. They've already dropped them on the seed lines and all that stuff. None of that matters. What you heard on Saturday from the folks that will actually make the selections, that's what matters. And what they're telling you is that there was a slight punishment there. It's like we did have them on the 3 line, according to the committee chair. But when we found out about JT, we dropped them to the 4 line. So it's just razor thin. And then you come out and you win a game on Saturday. You're going to have some body of work here to where I don't even know if you were going to win in Ames with JT Toppin. I think winning in Provo with JT Toppin was going to be difficult too. Nothing's a given there. You could have won one or both. I mean, I'm not disputing that.
Sure.
But I think you just have a hell of a resume. So I just don't think, even if the wheels fall off, you're going to fall just too far here. Because Cincinnati is a quad 1 game. I think TCU will be as well. So I think that you've got 4 quad 1 games to finish out the regular season, and nobody can take away your wins over Duke and Arizona and Houston. And you've got quality losses, which nobody likes talking about that. But when you lose to Illinois at your place, when you lose to Purdue, some of these, it's like you just don't get punished for that too much. So Arkansas, play some really good teams, which was by design. So anyway.
No doubt. So that's where you sit right now. And before we finish up the basketball talk, there's a couple of football questions. I guess dream scenario, winning in Ames would take what? What would have to happen there?
Well, you'd have, because they turn people over at a very high rate, especially in that building. I think you would have to, you would have to really shoot the ball well. Like your looks from deep need to go in. You're going to need to get your 10 to 14 made threes, and if you limit turnovers, you would have a chance. But the scariest thing right now, because that's going to be the first road game that you play with Luke and Mariel and like kind of this new version of yourself. Can you rebound enough?
Yeah.
Can you rebound enough? And I'm not asking you to go win the rebounding battle, but can you hang?
Yep.
Or do you just get kind of blown out in that stat category? But against a team that plays really good defense, especially in their building, and they haven't lost at home yet. So that's what it would take.
All right, shift over as the NFL Draft Combine comes up, I believe this week. A couple of questions.
Indianapolis.
Yeah, you got 8 Red Raiders involved in the Draft Combine.
Should be 9.
Should be 9. Well, here's the question that goes with that, and I think we're going to be on the same lines, along the same lines to it. That's from Carlos. Says, is there anyone not at the Combine for Tech that could still get drafted, and how many Red Raiders do you expect to get drafted?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody internally feels like Cole Wisniewski will still get drafted. I still have not gotten a good answer from a variety of people that I've talked to on why he wasn't included. I just don't. Nobody has a good answer. I just don't understand. Measurables, production, healthy. I mean, it's like great tackler. I mean, all the above.
Yeah.
I don't know. obviously your 3 defensive linemen are going to get picked.
Mm-hmm.
Your linebacker is going to get picked. Your 2 receivers and Barron are really where the question comes. And who am I missing? Who's the
linebackers?
I think I counted 7. This is 3 D linemen, the linebacker, that's 4. Your 2 receivers, and then
it's got to go Howard too. Also.
Oh yeah. Okay, well,
so 4.
Yeah, that's a good question on him. So I think that's where the question comes in. Does Barron get picked? Does do both wide receivers or just one? I mean, and some of that may be determined this week.
True. Very true.
I certainly think they are on the draft radar. You wouldn't be at the combine otherwise, but I just don't think. I'd be willing to bet you like anything will be on the table there from like say 4th round to undrafted with those guys.
Yeah.
Whereas the other 4 are top 3 round guys, for sure. I just don't see any of them in any way falling past the 3rd round. I mean, and some of that may be staring 2nd or early 3rd dead in the face, but everybody else it's to be determined on basically what this week looks like, how well you do in these interviews, how well you do with throwing it, catching it, your medical evals and all the things. None of them have any off the field stuff or anything like that. I mean, Scholar's got the injury that he's going to have to, convince people, or his X-rays will, or whatever, that, hey man, I'm good to go. That kind of thing. So, and he doesn't necessarily have measurables on his side, whereas the other guys do.
All right.
Yeah.
So anywhere from 6 to 9 guys, I guess that's what it could be. If everybody got drafted on that list, it'd be 9. Could be about 6. Yeah.
Well, and if we're adding Cole Wisniewski to the list, certainly. And I think there's probably some pretty good thought that it could be all 9 guys get picked. I don't think anybody would be shocked by that at all.
No doubt. One more question. It's just kind of a random football question level from Matthew. It says, will Tech football have to go undefeated to get a bye in the college football playoff this year since we got shut out by Oregon?
That will have no bearing on it. I think that because, first of all, you won't know what the rest of the landscape looks like, but I will say you're going to have to be really good to get like an at-large, okay? If you weren't to win the Big 12 or weren't to win that game or not even make it, you're going to need to have been really good. But what helped you out so much was like margin of victory last year. It's just you were just housing people, and so that's what they start looking at. It's like not just you're winning, but how are you winning? And so but your non-conference isn't going to do you any favors. Maybe your conference schedule will do you some favors. Maybe it won't. I think we kind of have a feel for what it may look like, but it never usually works out that way. So I just don't think we have a good feel for that just yet. But you're going to have to be really good one way or the other to make it back.
Do we even want to buy at this point? For his question,
if that means winning the Big 12, then absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not. I think that they would be able to handle it differently after having gone through it. Tweak it doesn't mean that you would maneuver it successfully, but I just think that whatever the Big 12 title takes you, that's what you accept. I mean, others have maneuvered their way through it. Really, only Indiana is the one that maneuvered it the best. But I mean, that's just it's the way it is, and it's kind of goofy and all those things. I certainly understand all that, but yeah, if that's what comes with winning the Big 12 championship, then sign me the hell up.
I agree, but 1-7 for teams that have gotten a bye at this point, and it's something's got to change. And we've heard Coach McGuire talk about schedule changes, all that, plenty of times, and he's not the only one. But Level, enjoy, great stuff, and we'll talk on the other side of a couple of games this week. Hopefully, you can get one, or maybe a fun game in Ames, whatever it looks like. We'll talk again next week.
Yeah, you need to at least go 1-1 this week. I think that would be, it's a great goal, a very achievable goal, but it's not going to be easy. And then good luck to all those guys up in Indianapolis. And in this the week where we start hearing about that shrimp cocktail and that cocktail sauce with the shrimp with Indiana. Don't they everybody go eat at that one steakhouse like St. Elmo's or whatever it's called?
Right.
Yeah, it's always like,
I don't remember what it is, but
yeah, I think that's always the famous thing up there. It's like that's where all the dignitaries are eating, and it's I saw so and so eating with so and so. That's interesting, and like you got owners and coaches and agents and all the stuff. So, anyways, yeah, since
we're talking about food before we close, make sure you tell someone from Cincinnati this week that chili does not belong on spaghetti. So,
well, I don't even mind that. I just mind putting cinnamon in chili. Like, you disgusting. Like, what are you? You know, have you done it? Have we?
I have not. No.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I tried it, and I wanted to try it, but I mean, it like,
yeah,
it's like my facial expression I know changed. I'm like, what is going on inside the old taste bud factory here? I was like, it was like,
yeah,
you know, it wasn't. It wasn't computing. I was like, this isn't what I thought it was. Like, it's very, very non-Texan.
I think we have I think our football trip goes up to Cincinnati this year, so I'll give it a try just to try it.
Sorsby Bowl. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so
I won't be partaking. I've been there, done that. No,
you can watch me gag on my own then. So.
All right,
all right, Level. Good stuff. We'll talk again.
All right, sounds good, man. Appreciate it.
That's Chris Level. I'm Chois Woodman. You've been tuned in to the Ask Level podcast powered by the Double T Sports Network.
You've been listening to the Ask Level podcast, powered by the Double T Sports Network. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons for more great content from all of our shows on the Double T Sports Network.